Hi there. As you can see, the stock price of FuboTV is not doing so great. Year to date is down over 50% and the market cap is about 500 million. Now, when you look at their fundamentals, at their revenue, you can see this amazing growth rate. In 2019, the revenue was about $4 million. And then it has increased to over 1.5 billion for the last 12 months. So be aware of this number, 1.5 billion, right? And then you look at the market cap of only 500 million. So when you look at these numbers, you might say that FuboTV is undervalued, quite cheap. But if you are planning to invest in this company, take advantage of this massive decline, you have to be aware of some things. Very important things. So when you look at the latest results, you can see that Fubo exceeded revenue guidance in North America. Their total revenue was up 21% year over year. Amazing. Also, their subscribers, the number of subscribers have increased by 9% year over year. Now they have 1.6 million subscribers. So that's great. That's great. And also the average revenue per user has increased by 2.5% to $85.64. Amazing. And then you look at the rest of the world, where the revenue has increased by only 6%, but their subscribers were down by 8.1%, and this is bad. However, the most important segment is North America, because when you look at the average revenue per user, you see for North America is $85.64, and for the rest of the world, as you can see, average revenue per user reached $7. So it's not that a big deal. And you can also see here, this segment represents only 8.9 million from the total revenue. 8.9 million. And North America, over 377 million. So when you put in balance, you see that North America is the most important segment. Now, what you have to be aware is their real indicators. The most important indicators of this business. You can also look at their guidance that for the next quarter they expect another increase in their revenue by 9%, and for the full year the revenue is expected to increase by 19%. Amazing. And also their paid subscribers by 4%. So they are growing. And for the rest of the world, which is a small segment compared to their North America, the increase for the revenue is expected to be about 4% and a decline over 14% in the number of subscribers. But you have to be aware of some real indicators. If you look at their income statement, you can see that FuboTV is making money from two segments, subscription and advertising. And when you look for the last 9 months, you can see that their largest segment is subscription. Over 1 billion in revenue for the last 9 months, right? And advertising is just a small segment, 80 million, quite small. And then when you look at their losses, here net loss, they reported a loss over 145 million. This is a huge improvement because last year they reported a loss over 200 million. So they are doing great. They are growing, they are increasing their revenue and reducing their losses, the most important thing. But why the stock price doesn't react? Why is down over 50% year to date? Why is that? That is the question you should ask, always. So let's answer that question. Their expenses went down. But what you don't know, or maybe you know about this business, is the way they operate. As I said, the most important indicator is subscription. But how do they make money? Well, if you read the reports, you'll find more about this company. They simply buy content from other companies, such as Disney, for instance, just an example. And they sell that content to their user. They focus only on a niche, the sport niche. And when you look at their income statement, you can see here their biggest expense, subscriber related expenses. You can see here. For the last 9 months, they made over 1 billion in revenue. 1,093 million. But, as I said, as this business is buying content from other companies, and then they form their own channels, and then they sell to consumers. So they are the middlemen. But what you see here is their biggest expense, subscriber related expenses, which were over 1 billion for the 9 months. And this is quite important because they can double their revenue from 1 billion to 2 billion, but also their expenses will double from 1 billion to 2 billion. They might make some money, they might succeed to become profitable, and if they can achieve that, that will be great for shareholders because the stock price will go up when they achieve profitability. But as I said, you have to be aware of the risk. Because if these costs goes higher than their revenue, then FuboTV will never become profitable. You have to be aware of this. This is the main risk. The first risk. So, if you read more about these expenses, subscriber related expenses, you can see here the risk. They are saying that they have seen an increase in these costs in recent periods, and they expect further increases in the future. Plus, if they're not able to pass these increases to their subscribers, they will face other losses. And another thing you have to be aware is that if those content providers start to pursue their own direct-to-consumer business, to do the same thing, to have their own sport channels or their own sport platform, then the number of subscribers will decrease and also their revenue. Plus, those providers might stop selling their content to FuboTV. And if that happens, Fubo will have less content, less important content. And what will the subscriber do? They will switch, they will move to other platforms, to those content providers that are offering the channels that viewers want. So, you have to be very careful because this is a huge risk. Their content acquisition and renewal costs. Maybe those content providers will decide to continue to licensing their assets to FuboTV, but they will charge high costs. And if that happens, the expenses of FuboTV will go up, but the revenue may stay flat, may increase a little, but won't be able to cover those huge costs. And that will put pressure on their final earnings. Now, so far, their numbers are looking quite good. They are improving. They reduce their losses and are increasing their revenue. But we have to be aware of this risk. Subscriber expenses. Be aware of this if you want to invest in FuboTV. Because maybe last year you thought that FuboTV will go from $24 to $100. But look what happened. A decline over 85%. And you don't want to get in this huge decline, massive decline. Then, another risk about this company, because maybe you wonder why the revenue went from 4 million to over 1.5 billion, but still the stock price, as you can see, is still down 85%. From its IPO, $11 to $1. Why is that? Because in 2019, the revenue was only 4 million. And now it's over 1.5 billion. Why is that? Well, the answer is quite simple. If you understand what dilution means, you look at the number of shares. And you can see that in 2019, the number of shares was around 14 million. And now in 2014, the number of shares is around or over 300 million. So you know why the stock price has declined so much. Because they keep issuing a lot of shares to cover their losses. So for the last quarter, the same thing. The number of shares has increased quite a lot to 331 million. So be aware of this second risk if you are planning to invest in FuboTV. As long as they report more losses, they will continue to issue more shares. So I hope you understand the risk. And the reward, as I said, maybe Fubo can continue to increase the revenue, because if you look at their guidance for 2024, they expect the total revenue to increase by 19% for the full year 2024, and they expect for the next year to achieve positive free cash flow. If they can do that, then you might see an improvement in the stock price to go from 500 million, the market cap, to 1 billion. But as I said, be aware of the risk. You don't want to end up like this. Year to date, a decline over 50%. You don't want that. And the risk is quite high. And that's it for this video. And if you have other questions, please let me know in the comments.